It is our main speaker time. So, what I want to do is we have a tradition here at GNA, everybody knows. So again, we're going to have you get up out of your seats, develop some energy right now, and give a warm welcome to Fritz Gustafson.
Thanks, everybody. I've been coming to GNA events for a long time, and it's been about a year now. Elias and I have known each other. We've become good friends through our relationship and knowing each other. I always get a little nervous speaking in a larger audience. I give, for my business, I give speeches for little smaller audiences, but my butterflies are racing through my stomach right now. But I remember years ago when I was involved in high-tech sales and software, and I went to an event out in, it was a computer software show that I went to, and there was, somebody needed a speaker like immediately. I didn't know how many people were going to be out there. The fishing story gets bigger and bigger every time I talk about it. I think it started out 100, I think it's up to 300 people now. So anyway, they asked me to speak on the spot. I didn't know really what to talk about. I knew I had to talk about a little bit about my business, but I stood like a stone. I didn't know what to say. I just stood there like, oh my gosh, what do I say? And so something came to me. I just said, well, I'm not quite sure if I'm supposed to think of you guys as all naked or as me being naked. So hopefully broke the ice enough where I could...
Did you steal that from Eric?
What's that?
Did you steal that line from Eric?
No. Is that what he uses too? No. Anyway, yeah, it's just great to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak in front of you. I hope what I have to say will give some value to everybody. I want to start off, and speaking of relationships, this is a great event for that because we're all about relationships. It's not just, handing out business cards, it's establishing relationships, and sometimes you get to be more friends than just having a business relationship. My wife and I met each other about 2 years ago at a high school reunion, and it was one of these things where she had gotten divorced from her previous husband, and I'd gotten divorced from my wife about the same time. We came together, and we knew that there was something special between us. We dated a few times, and it was just a couple of weeks after we dated. I do this thing where I put her I sit her in her car seat, open the door, put her in her car seat, but I also put her seatbelt on to know that she's going to be safe when we go traveling places. And she was looking at me kind of funny, and I said, what's going on? And she said, I could spend the rest of my life with you. And
wow.
I was touched by that. It was the same feeling I had, although guys are supposed to be macho, right? Not say their feelings at all. So I said, yeah, me too, so. We got married about a year and a half ago.
Lots of honesty here in the room today, huh?
I love it.
We got married about a year and a half ago, and we live right here in Morgan Hill. We have 7 kids, and so I came with 3, and she has 4. They're all teenagers and above, and so it's
our condolences.
Yeah, it's quite a household. Yeah, it's quite a household. Most of them are left by now, but we have 3 or 4 kind of off and on as we go along. But I believe that we really can't choose who we fall in love with. It's just something that happens. You don't know. It's just you see people, you see couples like how in the heck do they get together? But there are choices that we can make in life, and with relationships, we have our business relationships that we're doing here. We've established relationships in our workplaces. We also have friendships as relationships, and you can also have a relationship with your organization too. The organization you work for, oftentimes you kind of marry. You get to know and you breathe and eat and believe in everything that company or that organization you get involved with does for you. And then we also have money relationships, and that's kind of where I want to talk about today. I'll get a little bit more about it here as we go along, but a relationship and having money values basically. And so if you understand how important money is to you, then you can understand how that affects your life. And so we all have our lunches here together. We collect our receipts, and we use that towards business expenses. We're all talking about business, so if you didn't collect that, you wouldn't take advantage of what's going on. So you need to understand all those things. My wife and I, again, we have basically two businesses. One is a successful health and wellness business that we're developing. The other side of it is that we also have a business that we do a lot of investing. So we manage a large portfolio. We get involved in different kinds of investments, and some are short-term, some are longer. And we've made a lot of mistakes along the way. And we actually invested, or we're about ready to invest in a gold mine that was quite costly. And we started to look at it because a friend bought this opportunity to us, and we thought, well, we really like her a lot, and we thought, well, she's going to give us some great advice, and why wouldn't we invest in something that she has to offer? But as we started to do our due diligence, we found out, it's like, well, this really isn't a great opportunity. There's lots of criteria. Again, I'll speak on to here in a second here, but that was kind of the journey that we had gone through, making a mistake, and we really didn't make a mistake there, but we've made some mistakes in some other investments that, kind of turned out to be real dogs, but in the process we've learned from those mistakes, and that's what's important, I think. So anyway, just to start off with, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a regular guy, just trying to figure out how to best use my money the best way I possibly can. But what I hope to tell you is that maybe by doing your due diligence, you can work with a financial advisor. We do work with a couple of financial advisors. And we also, rely on our own hearts and our own, due diligence again. So, through some of the readings I've been doing with Robert Kiyosaki, everybody know who Robert Kiyosaki is? Pretty world-renowned guy. But so what he talks about is using your money to make money, so you can invest in things to make more money. He also talks about working with people, having people work for you in your organizations, or working for companies and things like that. And then you can establish residual income from working with various companies like network marketing. You can also write a book, or you can cut an album, or even invent something which will give you some residual income. And these things are things that I don't have any skill. I can't sing. I don't have any real writing ability at all. Not that that's going to change things. I might try to write a book someday, but anyway, it's how you use your focus on, again, your money values, and that's what's important, I think, to kind of keep it on the forefront of your thought as you go through. So we've built this business on residual income, and it's kind of a neat thing to know that some days. We have days when we work like crazy, and other days that, hey, we're going to take a break. We can go out to the beach, and we'll grab a bottle of wine, and go out and watch the sunset, but we're, as residual income, we're making money still. So it's kind of a cool thing. The other thing is, I'll get into the criteria here now on how we can evaluate opportunities that are in front of us. And this is something that it's just a simple thing that we started putting together. And again, we started to learn more about it as we went along. But the criteria we have, helps it cut a decision pretty cut and dry as far as how we can establish, looking at an opportunity. So I'm going to use Apple as an example, and because that seems to be a really hot company right now, right? Even we invested, some money just a few weeks ago, and the stock was at about 481 or something like that. Now it's like 5 something or other. So by putting together this criteria, you can understand how you can make some smart decisions. So the first thing we would look at is the company itself. And Apple's been around for a long time, but what they have done is taken some really good things. In fact, I was watching an older movie yesterday, and they were talking about the Walkman and the Watchman. If you're familiar with all the Sony products, I mean, they literally just took that particular invention, that particular product, and made it completely different in a smaller, tighter, better way, more realistic for people these days. That they can use it not only for your iPhone or your iPod. It's not just used for listening to music or talking on the phone. There's lots of other things that you can use the product for. So the product, the company itself it's gone through its ups and downs. I mean, Steve Jobs has come and gone, and there's been internal fighting and all that kind of stuff. But the direction it was heading, the iPhone, the iPad, and all the eyes, whatever that it has, are things that people really want today. This is a pretty exciting place. That so that actually gets into the product of what they have to offer. And it's not just those products. Those products are coming out every 2 to 3 months, and so they're getting bigger and better. And faster and more compact and lighter and all that kind of stuff. And again, those are easy products to use. Everybody can use it. We don't have to be, super technical to use them and things like that. So the products are great. They have a forethought on what's coming next in the world of TV and what's the Netflix kind of a thing they're going to be using, and so a lot of on-demand types of things they're going to have on your TV. So there's lots of things like that are coming out that no other company's even thinking about doing. So pretty exciting stuff. So the products are really important, and as timing goes as well, this is really crucial too. So I don't know if you guys, if you ever seen anything like this before. This is called the business S-curve. Have you ever seen this particular curve at all? So the timing in a lot of things that you get involved with, especially stocks or businesses that are going through the roof, and in my case, I'm involved in an amazing company with the health and wellness industry. You want to, and all this is a study, and this is a thing that Harvard actually just came up with. So it's nothing I'm coming up with at all. But let's just say like the iPod, let's say, or the iPhone. So when the iPhone first came out, it was a big deal, right? So it had, it was a game-changing kind of thing in the industry. There's lots of other smartphones out there, but why is the iPhone so great? I mean, why are people buying that product? It's something that a lot of people, they love the intuitiveness. It's expensive and everything like that, but they just love the intuitiveness and what it can do for it. It's very powerful for what it can do. So when it comes out, it's kind of in this pioneer stage. As you watch the growth of that technology, people didn't really understand the iPhone. They heard about it, like, oh, this is kind of cool. And the next thing you know, they start to buy it. And there's what they call critical mass is right in here. And so when that critical mass happens, that's when everybody knows about the iPhone. Everybody wants an iPhone, so they all jump on board. This is exciting. I want to be a part of this movement. I want to be a part of this Apple movement or whatever. And so 80% of that growth of that iPhone happens within that, basically in their lifetime is basically anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So they know that every 3 to 6 months they have to reproduce another. The iPhone 2, the iPhone 3, something else bigger and better about that thing. As those technologies come out, they go through the same pattern. And eventually what happens, like the iPhone 1, it kind of lived its life and it's kind of reached its criteria at the top. So it was no longer an important thing. Until the iPhone 2 came out and all the other products come out. So in evaluating, is this a company I want to invest in? Is it a company I want to work for? Is it a company I want to, get involved in one way or another? That's kind of what we're looking at here. So the timing of things are really important. Obviously, the trends are very important as well. So you have, being a very hot company right now. A lot of other companies are looking at the Apple products and seeing like this is an amazing company. What are they doing out there? And they want to come up with their own thing. So there's a lot of iPad copies and a lot of iPhone type, GUI or the interface systems and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that a number of other companies, and if companies are copying you, that means you're doing something right because they want to be involved as well. They want to get involved the same way. The compensation, obviously, if you're investing, you're going to want to know what that's going to be, what's coming back to you. It's just, when I invest in, like we said, $480, we've already made over $100 a share so far, so it's a pretty good thing going on right now. So it's, that always distracts. I always notice that. People, when they see that sign, they're like, uh-oh, does that mean I should speed up or slow down? Anyway, she held up the sign that said 10 minutes, so I still have some time here. So the compensation obviously is like, what am I going to get into this? Am I going to invest money? What's going to come back to me? The importance of getting involved in something, is it going to come back to you in a good way? If it doesn't, then you don't want to get involved. So all these criteria have to be a part of what you're going to be involved with. So obviously the trends of the product, everybody knows about Apple, where they're going with the new technologies, the solidness of the company. Even though Jobs isn't around anymore, there's a lot of what he left behind to guide the company to go the same direction. Otherwise, the stock wouldn't go where it's going right now. It's pretty incredible stuff. So the compensation again is, what am I going to get out of it? I'm not a very good speller. Yeah. What am I going to get out of getting involved with this company? My efforts, my time, my money, anything like that comes into it. So, and then what's the system? Some systems are around training. Companies get involved, like, are they going to be able to train me if I work for Apple? If I, let's just say you were a part of the introduction of the very first iPhone, and you were that person that said, I've got control over what's going on with how this particular product works. So if everyone can buy the iPhone from you, and you need to train everybody else, like how do I sell that? How do I train other people to sell the iPhone? So there's part of it that has the system involved as well. And so, again, this is something, again, I'm not a financial person, but I work with financial people, so they put their magic into it too. So you might be able to go to Christy and say, we want to invest in Apple, and then she can say, well, here, let's grind some numbers together and figure out, how are we going to, does this make sense financially, and put some real numbers to it, and then figure out, okay, I'm into it, I love this product, my wife loves this product, we love this company, everything checks off, it's like the company, the products, the timing, the trends, the compensation, the system, everything looks great, but then you start to go, okay, how does this really fit in our lives, so you hear about other things on the outside. This is where your personality comes into making an investment. The investment of knowing business-wise it all looks great in black and white, or actually blue and white in this case. It looks great, but then you step back and okay, well, now all these products that Apple makes they're built in China, right? So you hear stories about the sweatshops. They're no different than any other company. So I know for a fact, like this iPod manufacturing facility, an iPad manufacturing facility, they have guys that work 12-hour shifts. And in that 12 hours each day, they make $17 a day. And so you look at that and go, okay, and these guys are standing up. They're not sitting down. It's not a comfortable environment for them. So they work 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And next thing you know, you're kind of like, well, is that something I want to be involved with? Or you look at the other end and say, well, if he wasn't doing that, then would he be doing something else, somewhere else, So am I helping that employment, or am I helping that sweatshop environment so Apple can make all this money? I mean, they have, I think 38 billion or something like that in the bank right now. So they're not doing so bad, So anyway, so then you kind of put your morals and your values and your emotion involved, and that's also a part of that. It's not really the black and white part of it, but you have to believe in everything that you have and your criteria, and does this work for us? And you step back and say, okay, morally, does this work for me, or emotionally, does this work for me? I mean, I have Apple products, I don't have an iPhone yet, but I have all the other stuff, and I love it. So, but again, it works for me. It may not work for everybody, but anyway, I'm just going to close up and say, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I hope you got some kind of value out of this. It's something that you can use to make decisions, I hope, and I'll take any kind of questions at all. Yes, Jim?
You were pointing to Peter Drucker's S-curve there.
Right.
And I think we've all lived through the phenomenon of the cell phone.
Right.
So, with almost 3.5 billion working towards 4 billion installs, that kind of proves what's going on in the S-curve. So, and they just keep reinventing themselves to the cell phone industry. So it's there for all industries.
Right. Yeah, it's not just I'm just use Apple as an example, but it can work for any company. I mean, every company, every technology goes through that S-curve, and there's no technology that doesn't, any company that doesn't go through that. That doesn't mean if you're at the end of that S-curve and that you've stabilized, that you still can't make money or it's a great place to work, but it's basically a generality of how technology, how companies grow and develop and basically die out eventually. So, Christy?
Yes, so I really like that. I like that you were bringing up all the different kind of bullet points on making decisions. I kind of feel a little bit different when it comes to making the investment decisions. It shouldn't be so much an emotional decision, but I can see how it being part of the joining and getting invested as far as working and really joining on with a company and kind of getting into bed with them. investment-wise, and I agree as well too that just because it might be at a top market, there's always that next thing that could go potentially through the roof.
Right.
My question would be, I know that back in the 1950s, Pat Bell, right, actually introduced the first MP3 player. If anybody knows, they actually introduced the first MP3 player, and they introduced the first cell phone in the late 50s, which did not take off at all. And they sunk in billions of dollars into this, and the whole thing was the timing, right, for the company. So the timing, the need, the interest, and the systems weren't in place at that time.
Right.
Lo and behold, another company tweaks it a little bit, 30 years later,
Right.
and it blows up like that overnight.
Now everybody has a cell phone. Yeah.
Right, and everybody, 90% of America has a cell phone, multiple cell phones, right? And I think that it's definitely, I like what you bring in this presentation is the value to a company.
Right.
Because really this is determining the value of the company, not so much the value of the investment part. That's a whole other level of different, advice.
Right.
But the valuation of the company as a whole and where you want to be with that company is phenomenal.
So the company has to have a vision.
Yes.
You have to look forward. Just look at Kodak.
Sure.
They're in bankruptcy right now.
That's right.
They're anticipating.
Yeah, they were the big name in photography and copying and all kinds of stuff.
You have to stay out there.
They just said, well,
From out of business. Everybody has a cell phone, they can
yeah, you can just take pictures with your cell phone, so. Yeah, no, it's, and again, to Christie's point, I wouldn't use this specifically. It's a great thing, and you can sit down with almost any opportunity and come up with these decisions within about 10 or 15 minutes. It's not an all-day thing. It's just a great little, evaluation of how this might work for you. And then you can, as an investment, you may go to your financial advisor and then get, the right guidance in that way too. But, yeah, I almost use, there's cigarette companies that every single year they grow and grow and grow, and they pay big dividends. Business-wise, it's a great little, tool to have in your portfolio. But morally, is it something I'm not a smoker. I don't believe that anybody should smoke. So can I invest in that company, but on the other side go, hey, this is hurting people, but, I make a lot of money off of these people these teenagers that are starting to smoke, and, it's not just America. America is kind of dropping a little bit as far as the population of smoking, but the world in a bigger picture is smoking more and more every day, and so and they pay a lot of money, a lot of dividends, and their stock goes through the roof every single year. So anyway, that's what I have. Any other questions?
Would you consider management too,
Management?
when you invest? Because a company, it's like leadership.
Yes, exactly. That is part of the company. I didn't go over that, but you're right. The leadership of that particular company, again, I use Steve Jobs, he's not with the company longer, but I think he's trained a lot of people to be, that kind of forward thinking. In fact, I haven't read his book all the way through, but I understand he stole other people's other people's ideas and used them as his own. So that's pretty smart thinking in general, but you want to surround yourself with the right people, but the leadership and the management of a company is something to look at too, is that very, very important, I think. So yeah, thank you very much. Any other questions at all?
Thank you so much.